Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're doing a mystery mani on my client inspired by Coachtopia, which is kind of like an off-brand from Coach, but it's like super cute and super fun. The morning of this mystery mani, I was getting like a ton of sponsored ads for Coachtopia, which I get often, but I was like, let me just take a little peek, and I was like, oh my god, everything's so cute. I need to do a set inspired by Coachtopia. So that's what I'm doing today. My client Taylor here, she coincidentally, my mouth dropped open when she arrived because she walked in with a brand new Coach bag, like a baby pink Coach bag that she had bought the day before that she had been on a wait list for. And I was like, oh my god. She went to the bathroom and I texted Pat and was like, oh my god, you're never gonna guess what my client just walked in with. So that was really, really fun. It was like, made it more exciting because I was like, oh good, she's into Coach. This is perfect. So I'm just starting off with prep here. At the very beginning of the video, I included kind of the little time-lapse video of my drawings of the set, which I don't think I've included before. But let me know if you like seeing that, because a lot of the time I'll draw up a set beforehand and then it does this cute little like video of your drawing in Procreate. So happy to include that if you guys want to see. But I'm just zooming through the prep, but I'm taking a little bit more time showing you the filing today. So I start by filing one nail, asking my client if that's a good length for them, and then I start like length matching roughly. So I go through the one hand and get everything to a good length, and then compare to the other hand and do some filing just to get everything kind of generally around the same length right off the bat. Of course, I'll check back in with length later. I don't know if I include that in this, and just make sure everything's matching up, but that is how I kind of start things off, and then I go through and I file to the shape. You can see I just asked my client to put her elbow out. That makes a huge difference. If your clients sit with their elbows tucked in, their hand naturally turns, which makes it harder to get an even shape. So if you ask your client to tuck or poke their elbow out, it really flattens their hand and makes filing a hell of a lot easier. So I highly recommend that. It also puts a lot less stress on your hands and arms. I'm currently dealing with some pretty bad arm pain, so I'll be the first to tell you that that's something you want to nip in the bud. But I've got my her hand flipped upside down, and I definitely do that as well while I'm shaping, just to check to see if things are even from both angles, and then I do file while it's upside down. I'll flip the hand back over, I'll do any remaining filing that I need to do to get a good shape before I'm moving on to the other hand. And then after I've filed both hands, I compare again, make sure everything's looking even, shape, length, the whole bit. But now I'm just going over with a sanding band. I'm touching the natural nail there to get it all etched up for product application, but I'm also smoothing out the builder that's still left on the nail, because we do a bit of a builder layer on Taylor. So now I'm using the Nail Thoughts Clear Builder Base, which I am absolutely obsessed with. I've been enjoying it so much. It's such a nice product to work with. It's so like flowy, and it makes your process a lot faster, but it is quite strong. It's also soak off, which is awesome. So I'm just kind of going back and forth showing you the process from hand to hand. I like do the slip layer, fill the back area, and then I kind of just like stripe a bit of a strip down the center. You'll see it here. And that's just to help with the shape. And then I go in with my little liner brush and I kind of move the gel around a little bit. I flip the hand upside down and let it level out, and then I will still be filing these afterwards just to make sure that the shape is perfect. You can see like it's pretty good right out of application, which is awesome, but I'm just a little wild. I like filing just to make sure everything's as good as I can make it. I like going around the cuticles, I like smoothing everything out. But I will say that Nail Thoughts product, it's the Cocoa's Nail Thoughts product, it really does the trick. So there's really not much you have to do, which is great. But I am refining the shape. So I start off usually with the side walls and kind of straighten those out and go around the cuticle. And then you can see I'm constantly turning the nail to kind of look at the apex, just to see where like there are lumps that I don't want there to be lumps, or making sure that the apex is in the right place, that sort of thing. And then, I just make my way through all of the nails, just doing that. And then after that, I go in with a buffer. This is the Apres nail buffer. I'm not crazy about it. It's a little bit too smooth for me. I'd like a little bit more action going on. I'm actually going back in after buffing with the Nail Thoughts base because it is a builder and a base. And I'm just applying a thin layer of that as my base coat. I'm going to be using syrup gels, which I prefer to do over a, I'm going to say a wet base, not a wet base, but a base with a base coat rather than a buffed base. I just find that they apply a bit better. So I'm laying down that thin coat of base coat, so then when I go in with my syrup gels, they apply a little bit more smoothly. Just doing a thin coat to all the fingers before popping that hand to the lamp. And then I'm going in with my syrups. I love watching syrup applications because they start off like quite sheer. And then by the second or third coat, depending on what you're doing, they build up so beautifully. These are some of my favorites here too. We just used the Mostive Black. This is, I believe, the More Favorite collection. This looks like the Vala bottle. No, I don't think it is the Vala bottle. I think it's the More collection also because it's a square bottle. Anyways, everything will be linked down below, of course. But I'm just having fun trying to guess what I'm using. But yeah, these colors are stunning. So when I apply the first coat, I do all 5 fingers because I'm doing a pretty thin layer. But when I'm going in with the second coat, I'm doing a bit of a thicker layer than I did the first time around. So I'm only going to paint the first 3 fingers. And then I'm going to have her pop into the light and secure that into place. And then I'm going to go back for the other 2 fingers, just so things aren't shifting around as much while I'm making my way through the hand. Oftentimes you'll see it's like the product after you come back from painting the thumb, the products on the other fingers have all tipped over towards the sidewalls, which nobody wants. That changes the shape, that changes the color that you just lay down. So yeah, so I just had her pop in and now she's back and I'm doing the second layer on the other 2 fingers. You can flash gear as well, but just to keep things moving while she's in the lamp, I'll work on the other hand. Purple's beautiful. And now let the art begin. So I'm using the Mostive white alcohol ink there just to make some lines, some messy little lines. And then the liner gels I'm using today are the D-Gel X Ginny collaboration. So these ones I'm going to be using for most of my detailed stuff. You'll see as I'm painting, they're not super free-flowing, they're a little bit more stiff. So filling stuff in is a little bit more of a task than, say, if you're using like just a regular gel polish, but it's not unbearable. I'm happy to keep things in place and for the opacity of the gel rather than using like a more free-flowing gel polish, if that makes sense. So I'm just going in. I will say for hearts, I've started doing it where I do the top 2 humps of the heart first and make those as even as possible, and that has helped immensely with my hearts. You're less likely to have like wonky sidewalls. They're much more likely to be symmetrical if you can nail those top 2 little humps first. So definitely recommend if you struggle with hearts, because I know I definitely did for quite some time. I will say both the stars that I just drew and the hearts, I go in and I do 2 coats of the gel just because we're going over black, so I want to make sure it's really opaque. So I do 2 coats of that. But now I'm just going in and drawing the little bunny. You can see in the top right corner, that is a bunny graphic that is on a t-shirt. So I'm painting the little bunny on the nail here, which is so cute and has inspired me in multiple different sets now. That little bunny. I've drawn bunnies on myself, I've drawn bunnies and kittens on other clients. I just think it's so fun. So yeah, you can see I'm going back over the stars here with some more yellow paint just to make sure it's like full coverage. And now I'm going in with some black gel and I'm going in and doing some barbed wire. When I'm doing barbed wire, what I do is I have all of the black layer touch. So all of the little barbs, everything's kind of pressed together, all of the wires, everything's crisscrossing, whatever, but I will go in with a silver layer and almost none of that will touch. No, actually none of it will touch. But I'll point that out when we're going through it. And this just gives the like really crisp effect. And it makes it look even more metal, I'd say, when you're going in for like a silver barbed wire. Now we're going to do some detailing on the little bunny's face. Going in, I'm just mapping out where I'm going to put the eyeball. So we're doing 1 eyeball normal and then 1 little X eyeball, which is super cute. Can you hear the wind? Probably not, because you'll probably hear the music over the video, but the wind in Toronto today is nuts. It's like unbearable. Doing a little also my head, it's been a long time, but my head does make a reappearance in today's video, which is annoying, both for you and I. Me editing this, I was like, oh my god, why again? But it's because I want my face to be like a centimeter from the nail. So I just went in with a little dotting tool and I placed a dot, and now I'm just going in with a little liner brush and I'm making like a little lock. So it's like a little heart lock. And then I moved on to this nail and I'm painting cherries. So these cherries are to represent the little cherry bag. I'm going to do 2 sets of cherries on her hand. So one on this nail and one on the thumb. This one in pink, the other one in black, both representing the pink and the black cherry bags from Coachtopia. In hindsight, after looking at the little cherry logo again recently on their website, I feel like airbrushing this would be really cool. But today what I'm going to be using is a white syrup gel to be adding the highlights, because the bag, it's hard to tell, but it is really like highlight heavy. So I'm going around the outside of the entire cherry with some of the white syrup gel to give that highlighted effect. And I'm going to be curing and like adding more to get more definition in the highlight. So I'm going in here to do the black cherries now. You might be able to see this nail a little bit better to see what I'm doing. You want to go in thin layers with this gel too. You want to make sure it's fully curing. And then I'm just adding more highlights there with the syrup gel. Layering syrup gel is a great way. If you're laying white syrup gel for highlights or like a glass black for shadows, that's a great way to do it. And then on this thumb here, I'm making a little spider web, which is really cute. So I'm just outlining where I want the kind of like peaks of the spider web to be, and then I'm going to go through with the, what is it, the actual webs? I'm just basically doing little loops between each one. I'm going to go around and circle again and again and again, kind of making them hit different points of the webs until it's all kind of like this cool spidery effect. And then I'm going to pop that in for the cure. Now I'm in with the silver, and you can see kind of past my big old head that I'm just laying each silver detail down individually and making sure that none of the silver detailing is touching. So when I'm going in, I'm stopping before I come to the line, if that makes sense. If you guys want more, like a more in-depth video on how to do this kind of thing, just let me know. I know this one isn't the best, but I can do some close-ups. But I do think it looks beautiful. It's super effective technique on doing it. And then on this pinky here, I'm using the same silver liner gel, chrome gel, and I'm just going around and making these little loopy stars. I'm gonna do 3 of these on this nail, and then I'm gonna add some on top of the spiderweb nail as well. And they're super cute and super easy to do. A nice take on a different little star. I mean, you can tell by my yellow stars I like an interesting star, a bit of a blobby star. It's my preference. So just doing the exact same thing over on this thumb. I won't film the entire, or show you the entire thing, because you just watched it. I don't want to bore you. And then I'm going in and I'm giving the bunny little ear piercings because, of course, naturally the bunny should have ear piercings. So I'm going on both sides of the ears and doing that. I also do that on the side of the red heart as well, which I think I've already done, but my head was in the way, so I couldn't include it. But now I'm using the Sissy 3D clay, and I'm just making a little bow using alcohol on this brush, and then I use like little silicone tools. That's the best way I find to kind of like work with the clay products. Yeah, and I always use your gloves when you're crafting with your clay, because it still is uncured gel. Just remember that. And then I'm using the Cat's Mead Gel Lime gel, which is my favorite, like, not clay gel, but like 3D sculpting gel. It's kind of like more of a gooey texture rather than the sissy clay. It is so much less sticky than all the other ones, and it files away so much nicer. It's way less rubbery, and it's a lot more like of a hard texture, so it makes life so much easier. So I've just, I'm using my little silicone tools to make indents in that to make it look like a little cloud. I'm gonna do 2 of those, and then once they're cured, and you can also use alcohol on a brush to like wipe over them to like smooth out the surface, which is helpful. But once they're cured, then I'm going in with my yellow liner gel. I'm doing some swirls on top of the clouds. Everything I'm doing is pulled from basically a Coachtopia piece. So this is from the graphic t-shirt, same as the bunny. And then once everything is painted and cured, we are top coating. I'm using Zombie Top because it is so glossy and thick. Gives a nice self-leveling situation. I'm gonna apply that to all 4 fingers. Flip the hand upside down for a sec and let it do its thing and then cure. And here we have it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to see more videos inspired by other things, and I'll catch you in the next one.